In this section, I want to talk about 3 different types of churches. Identify the most important group in your church and then ask, why are they the most important group in our church? At an Oikos workshop, I was asked, how is an Oikos-centered church different than just having a friendly church? But the question is never about being friendly because every church is already friendly. The question is, who are you friendly to? And most churches are designed to be friendly to each other. I'd encourage you to make a strategic decision to be friendly to the people for whom the strategy of the church was developed in the first place, the people who are still living in bondage behind the gates of Hades. For example, when we developed plans for one of our auditoriums we meet in, we decided that we would put a cup holder in front of every seat. There was some pushback with that plan, as we were reminded by some that the Apostle Paul was very clear, never attach a cup holder to a chair in a worship service center, lest your theology quickly loses orthodoxy. They couldn't remember the chapter and verse, but they were pretty sure it was in there somewhere. But we ignored that very clear imperative, and the cup holder became symbolic for us. Virtually everyone in American culture feels comfortable in a theater, which is why they always go to the movies. Non-believers tend to not feel comfortable in a cathedral, which is why they avoid going to church. Hence the cup holders. We decided to make our cathedral feel like a theater. Design your ministry with the most important group in mind, the one you want to reach. I'm going to admit my bias here, and this could be painful for some of you, so here we go. It's about your auditorium. To call it a sanctuary is good Old Testament theology. It's lousy New Testament theology. If your auditorium is a no beverage zone, you've established who the most important person in your church is, the custodian. And I'm sorry, but the level of his or her workload may not be the highest value in the Great Commission. It's not uncommon for someone to pull me aside and tell me they think our worship music is too loud. Now, I'm 60, and I can easily agree with them, but my response is always the same. It's a good thing we're not the target audience here. There are 3 basic types of churches: congregation-centric churches, community-centric churches, and oikocentric churches. Congregation-centric churches exist for the congregation. They exist for themselves. They have an inward vision and an inward structure. That is, their ministry systems are designed to appeal to people just like them, and they're clear about the fact that it should be that way. They've designed a ministry that successfully fulfills their vision, even though their vision falls short of the vision Jesus had for his church. In a community-centric church, they have adopted a vision statement that describes their desire to reach the unchurched, but they're still structured to only reach other believers. They have an outward vision, but an inward structure, and they've set themselves up for failure because they've designed a ministry that ensures failure. They're like an archer who sets up the target so far away it's out of range. In my more cynical moments, I've said that a community-centered church is just a congregation-centered church that likes to talk big. But then there's the oikocentric church, the church that designs an outward-focused structure that can support their outward-focused vision. And that's the greatest challenge for us, transforming structures. Casting vision is actually pretty easy. I mean, what is there about inviting your friends and family to know Jesus that's new? You've been doing that for as long as you've been leading a church. And if you think that Oikos is just a way to do that under a different name, then you're missing the whole point. Oikos is a challenge to you as a leader to restructure your ministry wherever it doesn't support your mission statement. Every time you ask your church family to do anything, the onus is on you to structure systems that will provide them the greatest chance to succeed. And most pastors aren't willing to go that far, which is why Oikos tends to fall back into the evangelism program category and doesn't go any further than all the other failed evangelism programs you've tried. Do you want your church family's Oikos networks to come to church? Then begin designing systems that prepare your church family for the mission that Jesus gave them through their Oikos networks. So why do most church marketing techniques fall flat? Short answer is this. Most churches are competing in a market in which they have little or no ability to be competitive. You are probably marketing to the same audience that virtually every other church in town is trying to reach. And this is the amazing part. You're doing that with full understanding that there are other churches that have more pull with that particular audience than you do. So this might be a better marketing option. while the rest of the churches in your community all battle it out for the 20% who already attend a church, why don't you go after the 80% who don't attend church anywhere? You'd be fishing in a pool that has statistically 400% more fish in it, and you'll probably be the only one fishing there. Since Jesus was so intentional about our fishing strategies, I kind of think he'd like those odds.